Okay, so it's my second time attempting to record this. Hopefully it goes better. Anyways, I've been doing AJATT, MIA, whatever you want to call it, for about a year now, and I just want to talk about my progress the past year. So, a small introduction, and I made an outline, so hopefully this goes a bit smoother, but I'm not expecting it to. So, yeah. Small introduction. So, the whole thing that actually started making me want to learn Japanese was a post on the R Learn Japanese subreddit of Sean Crowder. He's a Japanese in a year. Maybe feel like a lot of people would probably know him, but as his channel name says, he tried to learn Japanese in a year, or was learning Japanese for a year, and he just made videos every month or something like that. Anyways, it was on there. There's a comment there. And it's funny because this is the comment that actually made me want to learn Japanese. Not his videos. The comment. This comment. Keep in mind that 600 hours in a year is less than 2 hours a day. And I thought to myself for a second, I'm like, wait, that is barely any time at all. I can do that. That's so easy. So I made the spreadsheet, and my goal was to aim for 2 hours a day. Apparently I did that, but I stopped caring about that like 5 months in. And I just cared about getting my reviews done. Anyways, so I made this spreadsheet. It has a journal thing, a timetable, and I did this because seeing this number go up, I thought seeing this number go up would be very motivating, and it was. It's not so much anymore because bigger the number, the less of a change it feels. This is double the time since the beginning, and then you go here 66 to 68. That's not as big as a difference, and then you go down to 750 hours. It's like, who cares? Anyways, I was actually doing kind of a traditional approach. Not really. I was doing RTK. I don't really know why I was doing RTK at the beginning before finding about AJATT. I think I knew about AJATT, I just didn't do anything. But then I found Matt vs. Japan's 3-hour AJATT journey video. I was like, alright, let's do this. And I switched to AJATT. So that's kind of an introduction of who I am. Oh, and I'm 20 years old and I go to college. I'm a student. I don't have a job, but I am a student. So just a quick overview of the 1, 0 through 6. I did RTK 1 the correct way, which is having kanji on the back and English keyword on the front, and writing them out. I don't do that anymore. I'll talk about that in a second. That took exactly 3 months. I was doing looks like 15 a day, 25 a day. I think I did 25 a day pretty much for the entire ending. Also during that time I started sentence finding Tae Kim. It took about 2 months. Started that in February, so it was a month into RTK 1, just because doing only RTK is super boring. After that, I was doing RTK 3 for a little bit. Gave up. I was really getting fed up with just doing kanji all the time, and I decided to go to kanji in the wild. And I don't think it was a bad thing, but I'm still like every single day I'm adding a couple kanji from RTK 3 to my kanji deck, so maybe I should have done it. I don't know. Anyways, during this time I started understanding a lot of stuff. I read with the help of a dictionary, but my listening really fell behind. And I also want to add, like, I did almost no active listening for the first 3 months. It was almost entirely passive, and I think that was a really dumb thing that I did, but I didn't know any better or anything, so that's in the past. Just gonna keep on going forward. So this is new stuff. This is pretty much where I'm at now. So from there, pretty much immediately after I made my 6-month progress video, I went 100% monolingual. And by 100% monolingual, I mean I even stopped doing the Japanese to, wait, how is it? Getting the definitions of the words in English from the Japanese definitions. I pretty much even stopped doing that and just went full Japanese. And I probably should have like kept on making cards for the words in the dictionary, just because I feel like I'm still not 100% certain with Japanese definitions. Uh, I just don't feel like they're that natural. Like a lot of them are, but there's still so many that aren't. So mostly with like emotions and stuff. like yeah. So I kind of want to start going back and doing that again, but we'll see. Anyways, about 7.5 months in, I switched to lazy kanji, and this was mostly because my retention rate started going down like a lot, just because I wasn't really paying attention to the English keywords anymore. I was like trying to recall the kanji were becoming Japanese words. They weren't the English keywords anymore. They were becoming real Japanese words that I knew. So switching to lazy kanji made it a lot easier to do that. But of course, I can't. Like my kanji writing is really bad now, even though it was good, if you can even say that, for the first 6 months or first 7.5 months. And I'm still doing lazy kanji, but I started writing them out again like a week ago, just because like I wanted to, what are they called, primitives or whatever. I wanted to start remembering those again. I started forgetting them. Not good, because it makes them look blurry again. Anyways, from there, I made a deck for the regions of Japan. It was just a map deck, like the 47, 48, 47 regions of Japan. I can't remember the prefectures or whatever. And then eventually I just turned it into a deck for the culture of Japan, just because, food, regions, like this is stuff that I won't learn unless I live in Japan. Like naturally, I just won't come across it. And I don't want to make sentence cards for the regions and food, and it feels like a waste of time. It's better off being its own thing. So it's just a culture deck now. That was around 8 months in. From there, around 8 through 9 months in, I stopped listening to audio passively while actively reading, and I'm not sure if this was a good idea. But basically, what kept on happening as soon as like I started being able to comprehend my audio, like to a degree that's over 50%, I guess. I kept on like tuning into it when I was trying to read, and it felt like I was getting nothing done. So I cut it out. And recently, like literally today, and I'll talk about that down there. I started listening to audio passively again while reading. Hopefully, being able to just drown it out, get better at drowning it out when I'm doing that. So this is kind of a silly point to add, but I realized how little Japanese is with kanji. Like I always knew Japanese was a literal language, especially with kanji. Like immediately after finishing RTK, you notice that. But this was around 11 months in that I was reading Your Name, the light novel, and I came across Sozo, however you pronounce that. I still have a really bad accent. I'll talk about that in a second. And I didn't even read it as like imagine or like that. I read it as like a mind, like drawing something in your mind. That's kind of like how I read it, and I wasn't even paying attention. I was like, wait a minute, and then from there I just like started noticing all these words and how literal they seemed. I was like, wow. I found that pretty amazing because it felt like it gave me a whole new look on like how Japanese seemed. It sounds stupid, but whatever. And like another word that's nice like that, shumatsuron. It's like eschatology, I think.
終末論
in English. It's like I don't know what that means. And then mukade,
ムカデ
centipede, 100 legs. That reading isn't obvious for that one though. But I like that aspect about Japanese a lot. Anyways, this isn't really a month thing, but during this time I was putting pretty much all my focus on listening. And even though I was doing that, my reading skills are still so much better than my listening skills. It's ridiculous. I really wish it wasn't like that. I'm pretty sure it's because I use subs a lot, but Japanese subs, of course. But yeah. And also listening just takes longer overall. You can't. It's a time thing. You can't just get better at listening. Like, it doesn't just pop up. Well, it doesn't pop up in a giant burst. Like, you just don't get a burst of skill. Anyways, this is what I was saying earlier. I went back to writing out the kanji. That was like a week ago, but I'm still using Icy kanji. I feel like I'm gonna go through RTK again, maybe next year. Maybe after fluency. But for now, I really don't care. So that was kind of just the past 6 months. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I wrote this out like over this past week. So hopefully I didn't miss anything. So where I'm at now, I still have a terrible accent. I don't know what to do about it. Maybe more listening, actually forcing myself to like train myself, and of course learn pitch accent. I do want to work on this, especially over these next 6 months. Definitely before fluency, I want to, fix these mistakes. So that's accent. Depending on the genre, I can read manga, light novels, visual novels fairly decently now. Grammar is honestly hardly ever an issue anymore. I don't know how to describe it. Grammar feels more like feeling now instead of like I don't know. It doesn't feel like a math equation anymore. It feels more like just the way something feels, and I like that a lot. It's very nice having grammar feel like that. So for listening though, I can understand slice of life, Clannad, Canon, Chobits, whatever. Without subtitles. I do want to put that, because with subtitles it's even easier. I can understand that. Honestly, I want to say 100%. Obviously, it's not 100%. Maybe 90 would be the correct way of saying it, because obviously there's just words that are rare. Like, they just don't pop up, like, hardly ever. And I don't know those, but, like, the normal stuff. Like, I understand it fairly well now, and I'm happy with that. What I'm not happy with is I still have quite a bit of trouble with mech, so like Gundam, political, and military genres. So Evangelion, Ghost in the Shell, Yojo Senki, and Gate. These are all ones that Gate is an exception. I understand Gate a lot better than the other ones. Ghost in the Shell, I like 20%, maybe 30%. I understand of this. It's not good. Evangelion, that one's not bad. Maybe. I really don't want to just like add some made up percents. They're not really made up, but like, just coming up with them off the top of my head. But it's below 50. All these are below 50. Gate, maybe 50. Just because like I was actually going through and learning pretty much every single word in there that I didn't know. And as a result, Yojo Senki got a little bit easier to understand too. Because these two are military, Gate's a bit more fantasy, I guess. Anyways, this is kind of the stuff I really want to get. All of them have specific vocab. So, yeah, that's an issue right now. I have a lot of trouble with it. Anyways, going from there, this is some like real life stuff. You can follow what's going on being talked about during Twitch Nico Nico live streams. Nowhere near 100% though. Like, I can know what they're talking about, but there's so many details that I'm missing. And the text to speech, Boyomi-chan, I don't know, the text-to-speech voice in the Nico Nico videos. I'm sure everyone knows what that is. I cannot understand it, like, at all. Depends on the streamer settings. Some of them have it like a clearer voice, and some of them don't. Some of them have it like reading 500 words per minute or something. Can't understand that at all. Outside of that, I can sort of consistently look up most words I hear now, but stuff like Pokemon moves, names, aka words that would be written in katakana, are still really difficult. And I have this file right here. I prepared it for this. And I also have trouble at times hearing the difference between da and na. So obviously the way I pronounce it, you can tell that I don't actually know, like, can't tell the difference between them. But this I heard sorotara, like this. Heard that when I heard it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll add that to this sheet.
揃ったら全員で行こう。揃ったら
Right there.
全員で行こう。揃ったら全員で行こう。
I cannot hear the na in there. Like if I'm looking at the character na, and then I listen to it, then I can hear it. But if I'm just closing my eyes and listening to it, I don't hear it. I'm sure this is just a thing that I need to listen more for. So, yep, hopefully time fixes that. And there's a few other characters, Moo and Boo, I think. I also have trouble with those sometimes. From there, talking a lot about the stuff I can't understand, but I feel like that's okay. So I still have a lot of trouble even telling what's being said in music without looking at the lyrics. This applies to anything, but it's especially true for rap and Vocaloid. I cannot understand Vocaloid at all. It's pretty much the same thing as this, the same issue. It's just, it doesn't sound Japanese to me. I don't know. Here's a good thing. Practically never translate the English in my head anymore. The way, mostly, the way I understand stuff is like, I paint a scene in my head. And I actually had to, you know, practice doing that. It was not easy. But eventually, that's just the natural thing I do now. It's hardly ever English. Which I like that. I still have not tried outputting, but I sort of have the feeling now, like when I hear something, or if I tried to say something, I could tell when it's wrong, or like if I wrote something wrong, especially when I write something wrong. It's super, I wouldn't say super easy. It's like I can tell there's something wrong. I might not be able to tell what exactly is wrong. It's just something's wrong. Here's a stupid thing. I still can't write kana. I've never even learned how to write katakana and hiragana. I do know how to write it, but I have to think of what the character looks like before writing it, which is stupid because, you know, I did RTK. Why didn't I go and learn them? But whatever. I'll do that. I'll do that eventually. So, you know, that was kind of just that's where I'm at now. I'll answer questions if someone comments on something in case I missed something pretty big. I don't think I did though. Anyways, fix bad pronunciation habits and start learning pitch accent. I'm going to be doing this over the next 6 months. Don't know how to go about this, but pitch accents, you know, just, you know, read something about pitch accent, you know, learn it. I have Dogen's videos, so yeah, I'm definitely going to be doing that over the next 6 months. I talked about this a bit earlier. I want to do more passive listening, especially while actively reading. I do a lot of actively reading, especially recently. I have been doing a lot anyways. So I want to get more audio in. I think yesterday I only had like 4 hours of listening, and that includes active and passive. Not sleeping though. That's not including sleep. I do listen to audio when sleeping. I'll talk about that in a second. Yep. Just, you know, get better at keeping audio playing on in the background. Go back to 25 cards a day. The only reason why I'm doing this is because I want to hit 10,000 cards at the 18-month mark. I seriously doubt I'm going to be fluent at that time, but I want to have that done at the 18-month mark. And about 25 cards a day will do it. Currently, I do 15. And I talked about this earlier. Start making cards for dictionary words again. Japanese English. Or, honestly, it'd probably be Japanese just because a lot of Japanese definitions do make sense. So, focus more on that. I made a text file for it too. Maybe I'll get to doing that again. Try to rely on context more to get us to figure out what words mean instead of resorting to Yomi-chan right away. I do want to do this. I have a really bad habit of going straight to Yomi-chan when reading. It's not as bad as it is recently. I've noticed that I actually don't even use Yomi-chan a lot. But like sometimes I'll like go over a really obvious word, put it in there, and I'll just be like, really? I looked that up? And yeah. If I would have spent like 3 more seconds trying to figure out what the word meant, I would have guessed it. Like realized I knew it. So yeah. I wanna tone that down. So I already started kind of doing this, but then I stopped. I need to go back to it. Watch the news for at least 30 minutes every day. I cannot understand the news at all. Like, listening to it, reading, Yomi-chan, of course. I can understand it, but yeah, I don't really consider this understanding using Yomi-chan. So, yeah, go back to doing that. I don't think it'd take that long. Maybe a few months, 3 months, maybe, before it feels like normal. Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, but I'm gonna start doing that starting today. Finish reading at least 25 books. This is a really bad issue I have. I don't ever finish reading anything I have. I have not finished a single light novel, visual novel, or manga. I don't really read manga, but I haven't finished reading any of them. I start them, get like 25-50% way through, and then just shelf it, forget about it. I want to stop doing that and actually finish stuff. I think it'd help. But yeah, want to do that. I want to switch to subs for assistive word lookup only, and not to aid with listening. So basically, that just means stop using subtitles while listening. Japanese subtitles, of course. And if there's a word that I really want to know, turn them on, and I can't figure out how it's spelled. Turn them on, make a card for it. And basic fluency. You know, Cats Brit versus Japan. You know, I don't want to compare myself to other people because it just makes me feel bad. But they were practically fluent at the 18-month mark. I think maybe it could happen with reading. It's not gonna happen with listening. But that'd be a nice thing. So that's just kind of the next 6 months. If you just cared about like where I'm at or anything, the rest of this video is just gonna kind of be demonstrating my immersion environment, how I make cards, some media I liked, and just some general thoughts about how I recorded my progress and how I feel about AJATT. So yeah. Anyways, from here out, just gonna talk about my immersion environment and I'll demonstrate it. So right at the beginning, I use DexSpot. I feel like this is a extremely essential tool, especially if you only have 2 monitors. Like, I feel like it's useful no matter how many monitors you get. It's nice having stuff on your main monitor at all times. So how that works, it's this program. I just press Alt 2, Alt 3, Alt. I have 4 desktops set up. I just switch through them like that. It's really easy. MacType is a tool that just kind of renders your text better for Windows 7. I don't know about Windows 10 or Windows 8, but for Windows 7, usually the Japanese text looks like this. It's bitmapped and I don't know how well this will show on the video, but I think I'm recording in 1080p, so hopefully it shows right. But you could tell it's just super pixelated. I don't mind this anymore, but like when I was still like, you know, at the beginning of learning Japanese, it felt like I could not tell at all what this stuff was. Couldn't read it or write it out to figure out what it was. So MacType kind of helped. You can see it here. Honestly, it's not that big of a difference, but I like it, so that's why I recommend it. Paste sentence. So this is a tool, I guess, a web page that I made that looks like this. I showed it in my 6-month progress video, and I use this every single day. Extremely helpful for reading. I kind of want to demonstrate it in a second. Maybe I'll demonstrate it at the end, but I use that, and I use Yomi-chan with it. Capture the text. So what this is, I opened up a manga for this. So if I want to look up this word, these words, I could just press Windows key W. Maybe I changed the keys for that, but like it'll actually accurately get it like that. I could put it in paste sentence, and I will learn Daigaku. And here I can just demonstrate how I use the paste sentence thing. So sorry for a word I don't know. Alright, so I just copy it from there and I can put it over here.
家庭
Kate. So, you know, that's this tool. Super easy. Let's capture the text. It's really helpful. It's accurate. The accurate thing is the biggest thing. Anyways, from there, I use MPV. I don't really use VLC, even though VLC is right here. I use it for the passive listening just because its playlist thing is way better. But I use MPV for my usual video player, and I wanted to demonstrate real quick, like right now, how I make cards using MPV, and why I feel like it's so much better than VLC. So yeah, I'm just gonna use this one because it's pretty easy. Is it opening? Okay. So let me bring this to my main desktop. Can't tell who's muted. So you can use, the way I have MPV set up is I use Control Left and Control Right to go between subs. What was I gonna say? So I just want to demonstrate how I make cards now. Okay, so I have a script for MPV that lets me cut audio out based on markers I place. So I go to the beginning of a subline, Control W, play it, stop it at the end, Control E, okay. Sorry. Okay, Control E, and then from there, if I press Control Z, it cuts the audio out. So let me put this on over here, and let me take this back over here. So how I make a card, go to my tomorrow deck, I put all my new cards in tomorrow, go to my subs to R, subs to SRS format, add the audio there, and I already actually added this when I was testing this a few days ago. But do that, and I also have a script that lets me copy the subline if I press tab. So I just put that as the expression, look for the word I want to make. How about console? Set up like that. And this is usually when I go to paste sentence. Put it here. Read this, copy it, copy, paste. Snapshot, I use share X. Like that. Control Shift C. Control Shift V, so it resizes it. If I just did Control V, it put it full size. I don't want that. And yeah, so I already know the word Kansai, so now I'm actually gonna, I'll just delete the card. that's how that goes. Pretty nice. I like MPV. I'll probably maybe put in the description the scripts I use and stuff in case anyone's interested. And I feel like it's really efficient. Much better than using Substa SRS all the time. Anyways, going on, Jade Reader. Jade Reader is a very nice Android app. The only thing that I really don't like about it, well, two things I don't like about it. I don't like the font. It uses the default font of your phone, so it doesn't look good. You saw my subs. I like I don't know what this is called. Micho maybe, or Gothic fonts. You know, the ones that look more handwritten than computer fonts. But and another thing I don't like, it has an English dictionary. I don't think you can really do anything about that. Maybe it's open source, so maybe you can go in and add your own dictionary. But I'm too lazy. I'm not gonna do that. So another part of my immersion environment would be my iPad. I honestly, I quite literally only got the iPad for iWinko and what's it called? Drawing, like Procreate. This was really early on when I started learning Japanese though. If I did it now, I honestly would not get an iPad, but I have one now, so yeah. Anyways, the app I use most on the iPad is VLC. I run Pokemon like all night. I set my iPad up next to my bed and I just run Pokemon all night and listen to it. It's not bad. I like it. You can do this with Android tablets though, or your computer. You know, you don't need an iPad for that. So yeah, but it works really well. I like it. iBunko. So this is an outdoor bunko reader. I don't use it that often. Sometimes I do, just because dictionary lookup is really slow. But I feel like, I guess once you have a basis and you're not looking up words every single sentence, it's probably a lot better. And then Kanji Kensaku. This is kind of like a real-time dictionary thing. So you just kind of type in your word here, or you write in your word. That's why I like it. You can write in the kanji that you use. And also, I wanted to just note something real quick. Another thing I like this is because I have this extension for Chrome, my paste sentence thing, where I can write kanji if I wanted to. That's gaku, that's not ji, but yeah, it's pretty much exactly this, and it has English. It has whatever dictionaries you have on your iPad. Very helpful. So last thing, testing listening ability. So here, I wouldn't recommend people doing this just because I don't know if it's helpful at all or not, but it's something I like doing a while ago. I went through and made I made subtitles, like Japanese subtitles for this entire episode. And I could not figure out that word, so I put a question mark. Yeah. Anyways, and like, what am I trying to say? I don't really recommend doing this, especially if there's like no subtitles to compare to. Like, this was going based off exactly what I heard, and I did this like 8 months in, so I still wasn't really sure for a lot of things. I've went through this a few times and realized like I got some stuff wrong. So maybe if you have subtitles to compare to, it's not as bad of a thing, because you can go through and see when you're wrong instead of just guessing. But doing that, I don't want to open that just because spoilers, I guess, but don't open the video. But yeah, I went through and then I commented out the ones that I know are wrong for sure. But I want to I want to actually make Japanese subtitles in the future, just for other language learners. So I thought it was kind of fun, and it took like 8 hours to make these. I don't know. Anyways, that's kind of my immersion environment. Oh, I wanted to demonstrate the visual novel real quick. So this is a text hooker, automatically copies it to my clipboard. One second. Hikyogeru. So pull up. Pretty sure that's what that means. Hippatte uye ni ageru. So I just kind of put the words here, you know. What am I trying to say? Yeah. That's pretty much how this works. I kind of already demonstrated with the MPV, so don't want to do that for too long. Anyways, I don't know if I want to talk about the. I guess I will. Just media I've liked so far in terms of language learning. You definitely don't have to watch this. I'm putting this in the description if you just want to go through and read my little comments, or skip it if you don't care at all. So Shoujo Shumatsu Ryoko. This one's super easy. I compare it to Yosubato, like the anime version of it, pretty much, like in terms of difficulty. One of the characters doesn't know a lot of words for some reason. So, and the other character, I don't remember their names, explains it to them a lot. Yosubato, everyone knows this one. It's like the beginner, the standard beginner manga. This one you could, after Tae Kim, like, you can get through this, especially if you have this reading pack thing. It just kind of explains all the casual. It practically parses the sentences for you, because you know, when you're early on in Japanese, you can't even figure out when words start and end. So that's helpful. Chobitsu. This one is really easy, pretty casual. One of the main plot points, kind of like this one, is a character teaching someone else Japanese, but of course, you know, it's not. You know, like, it's really fast in the anime. So Clannad, that was the visual novel actually. This one has practically no specific vocab, which I think that's really good for beginners, because you're not learning battle formations or the names of guns. You're learning stuff that people actually say. Well, in slice of life, you know, that people actually say in slice of life. Going on from there, Little Witch Academia. This one doesn't have the non-high school. It's not like it. Okay, it's a school, but it's not the same as a slice of life. It's quite different. It has magic related vocab, so I find it a bit harder than normal slice of life. Also, the speech felt really fast when I first watched it, but going back to it now, it seems normal. So I don't know what that's about. Also, these are sort of in difficult order of difficulty, not, but I can't really judge sometimes. Just depends on the words, the types of words you know. Pokemon. This one has subs for episodes 1 through 84 on Kitsune Neko. Why do I keep on just completely losing my train of thought? I still have trouble telling, like, what's actually being said during the battle scenes, even now. I don't know why. It sounds like blur. Like, if sounds could sound like a blur, that's what they sound like. Psst, I don't know. But each episode, the thing I like about this, each episode has a specific theme, and also you learn the Pokemon names. So if you like Pokemon, you're learning the actual Japanese names of Pokemon and their moves and all that, even though they only say their moves during the battle scenes. So it's really hard to catch them. Nichijou. this one's like actually not hard at all. It's full of Japanese ones too, so it's like it feels really nice to be able to get those jokes, in Japanese, and not having to read a little explanation. Maybe the English subs have explanations of the jokes at the top. I don't know. But I wrote probably a bit more difficult. I wouldn't say that. I just went like 30 minutes ago. Or 40 minutes ago. I can't believe this video is 40 minutes. I went through it a bit, and it didn't feel that hard. NHK ni Yokoso. So this was the manga that I had open. It's a bit more difficult than average slice of life. The novel is really nice because it doesn't have any weird grammar that you'd find in like classical novels or anything like that. Like it's more of a light novel. It's a novel, but it's more like a light novel. But of course, it's a novel. Vocab is much more rare than anything you'll find in anime manga. Toradora. So, this is like the classic slice of life. I feel like everyone talks about when they're talking about their level of Japanese. But I honestly find it a bit more harder than something like Clannad and Chobits, just because it feels really casual. And if you're like you have like you're trying to get your grammar up or whatever, like you have a mathematical understanding of grammar, it's difficult instead of a feeling to grammar. It's a lot different because you can't just go over it. Oops. Can't go over it with Yomi-chan. It won't catch the words just because they're spelled differently. Zero no Tsukaima has a pompous royal feel to it. This was really weird going into this. I think Gishu, is that his name? One of the characters in it talks in a really pompous and royal way. I wasn't used to that. And there's magic vocab. The light novel though, super short sentences. The easiest light novel I've come across yet. So I feel like it'd be a good introduction to light novels in general. Tokyo Kakeru Shoujo. Shoujo. You're gonna have to excuse my pronunciation. So this is an anime, but it's a movie anime, so it's a lot different. The language is honestly, I can't really explain it. It just feels a lot more different, colloquial and real than normal anime. I don't know why. But the actual vocab used is very general. Also, going back to Toradora, it's the same thing. You can't just Yomi-chan it. So this is like the only VN I've actually Hoshizora no Memoria, where I've completed a route. It's honestly not that entertaining, but I just wanted to like actually finish something for once. So I took me like 80 hours. I went finished the route. Some of the topics, like some of the things that get brought up, like Tanabata. Let me type that out so people actually know what I'm talking about. That gets talked about a lot, so it can be hard to follow if you're not familiar with it at all. But there's a lot of explanations, all that. Overall, felt like a buff slice of life. That's what I wrote. Laughing at my own things. Sad. Steins Gate. This one felt like slice of life too, honestly. But there's the whole sci-fi part of it, time travel and all that. So the language gets a bit more specific, but not so specific that it feels like you're watching something like a documentary. It doesn't feel like that. So I like that. Kitchen. This is an actual novel. One of the first novels I started reading. There's like no specific vocab. There's some food vocab. I mean, the name of the novel is Kitchen. I feel like the difficulty of this though is that some of the sentences are practically a paragraph long. It's just awful. For a beginner, like trying to get through those, if you like lose where you are in the sentence anytime. You pretty much have to go back to the beginning. It's can be really difficult. Bakemonogatari. So there's a lot of this is like the first one I think in the series or whatever in the monogatari. I don't even know how to pronounce it. Sad. Series. Anyways, has a lot of dialogue. I feel like that's one of the strong points, and it's not like it doesn't have a lot of specific dialogue, but sort of. What I wrote feels more like a light novel than an anime. Feels like a spoken light novel. And you know, there's like these weird walls of text. They use old kanji and katakana instead of hiragana. It's just, if you care about reading that, it can be kind of hard to parse it if you're not used to it. Suzumi Haruhi no Yutsu. This one, it's like the hardest slice of life I've come across, I think. Just because like everyone talks in these super distinct ways, and the narrator talks like the narrator Kyon, he the way he talks, it feels like you're reading a novel. It's strange, and you know, there's these sci-fi scenes that just walls of text. I can't say walls of text because it's speech. Walls of speech, just full of this sort of specific vocab. It's not super specific. That can be hard to follow. Hyoka. This is about a classic literature club and mysteries. This was the first anime that like I started sentence finding from. Wouldn't recommend it, but I didn't know what I was doing. So yeah, this is where I started. The cool thing about it though is that it feels like the speech just in general feels more real than, you know, like Toradora and Nichijou. Like it's not the same. It feels real, and I put real in parentheses just because I know the way people talk in anime it's a lot different than actual Japanese. So next one, Violet Evergarden. This one's nice for military vocab, I guess. Mainly ranks, I guess. And some like battle stuff, not too much. It's not as bad as like Yojo Senki. I really apologize for my pronunciation. But yeah, nice introduction to that, and almost all the Japanese in it is like Victorian style. I don't know if that's actually a thing, but that's how it feels. The main character talks in a strange way that is very formal. You can get some cool words out of that, I guess. Like, imagine someone's writing a military letter. Like, a lot of speeches like that. Next one's a game, Nier Automata. This is the first game I actually ever played all the way through in Japanese, so it's kind of nice being able to get through it. It has lots of voice dialogue and military-ish vocab. Like, it's military, lots of it, but I put ish just because not all of it is. Pretty good. I would recommend it. It only took me like 20 hours to beat. One of the routes or whatever. There's a few routes. I haven't played it since. But yeah. Gate. Not reading that out. This one, fantasy, military, and political vocab. I feel like it's light military vocab, but it's really not. It has military vocab and political vocab. But it's not like every sentence, you know. It feels like slice of life mixed with military. So this is kind of the one I've been going through and getting a bunch of military sentences from. That's why I'm a bit better at military than anything else specific. And Samurai Champloo takes place in alternate feudal Japan. Has a lot of vocab, you know, like Kawaraban. Has stuff like that you wouldn't really find in normal, you know, just normal Japanese. So if you're interested in that, I guess. And also a lot of language is weird. I'm not really familiar with rude Japanese. Maybe I am, like I just don't realize it's rude, but like it's actually rude. So that's that. Getting really close to the end of this video. Kind of sad. Not really, but so thoughts on documenting progress and miscellaneous things. This is just some stuff that I wanted to talk about. So AJATT and MIA's methods. So like I'm learning Japanese, and for the longest time I always said I was like doing AJATT, MIA, whatever. Like I didn't actually say that to people, but I always thought it in my head. But I just don't like thinking that anymore. When I think of AJATT and MIA now, I don't think of people who are enthusiastic about learning a language. I think of how do I say this? Pretentious people, honestly. If I had to be entirely honest, I think of pretentious people who look down on others trying to learn Japanese. I don't wanna be like that. I don't think I'm like that. Like, you know. So that's just the reputation the name has. So I don't really like saying that I'm doing them or anything like that, but I am. So I don't know, and I really am not doing it. I don't do 24/7 passive listening. I don't do meditation. You know, yeah. I just wanted to put that out there. Probably wasn't necessary to say. Whatever. Really. So another thing, realizing how much you don't know and not feeling bad about it. Around the beginning of December last year, it would be. I got like super down about how much I knew. It was really bad. Like I almost felt like I was gonna burn out. But like the thing you need to realize, like I'm gonna say you need to realize like there are so many words in a language. Like every single time you go into something new, you are going to just feel completely dumb, and it's just gonna keep on happening. And I can't say for certain, for 100% sure, because I'm not there yet. But fluency, like going up to fluency, that goes away. And I mean, obviously, I can tell that goes away. I can watch Slice of Life now, like, easily. But that's only because I'm super familiar with the genre. So you just kind of have to realize language is like all these specific fields, and you got to build up every single field, and it can feel really bad going into those new fields just because there's so much you don't understand. It feels like you're learning a new language, quite literally. Even the sounds start sounding blurry again. It sucks, but just keep going. That's what I'm telling myself. Just keep going. So I showed this at the beginning of the video, my spreadsheet. Timing Anki reps. This is the most annoying thing in the world. Do not do it. But if I had to be entirely honest, it was extremely motivating at the beginning. Look at this. January, I'm already at 50 hours of learning Japanese. I'm like, whoa, I'm actually gonna do it. And wait a minute. I only went from 264. Wow, a single day, and I only went up like 3 hours, and then I stopped caring. I stopped even looking at this number. I still put these little notes for myself here every 50 hours, but the last 150 hours has been like, I can't really tell how much I've improved, and I feel like that's just gonna keep happening. So yeah, I should probably stop doing this. I feel like I'm gonna stop doing this when I feel like I'm fluent. Like every 6 months, I'm just gonna ask myself, are you fluent? If I say yes, it's gonna be a bit, but if I say yes, I'm gonna stop this and go back to doing everything on my own. Don't do it. So I have a journal too. Oh, that's kind of weird transition in the sentence, but I have a journal too. It's right here. I wrote some text here on why it's private right now, so I don't really want to scroll down. But I write a journal entry every single day. Every time I go into here, I split a paragraph. It's nice, but literally I've spent over 30 minutes writing one of these, like just one paragraph. I've done that so many times. Every single time I do it, I'm like, why did I do that? I just wasted 30 minutes. It's not worth it. If you can stop yourself from doing that, then I think it's a cool thing to do. And I sometimes go back and read it think like, wow, you were kind of stupid back then. But then, you know, wouldn't really recommend doing it though. It wastes a lot of time if you're fastidious. I don't know how to use that word. Anyways, blog, would recommend this. So I have a blog. I need to write blog.sc2.com. Okay, I do have a blog, and I would recommend this. Kind of like I take all my journal entries for the month and put in what I was thinking. And this was private, but I unprivated it a week ago. So yeah, would recommend this. It's nice. It doesn't have to be a blog. You just keep it to yourself too. But I like the blog. And last thing, spending way too much time to plan these types of videos, that was probably a bad idea. I won't lie. Probably spent over 4 hours making this list total, but it was over a week, over the span of a week, so that's still way too much time. Don't do it. So this is under an hour. I'm happy about that. If anyone has any questions, you can ask me in case I missed anything pretty important. I don't feel like this video was really that entertaining, honestly. Rather than my last video, this one I actually am making for an audience. But to be honest, it's still like this is something I want to go back and watch in the future. So I can laugh at myself. But yeah, I guess I'm gonna stop here. Thank you for watching. If you watched the whole thing, maybe you should be immersing. If you're doing AJATT. But you know, whatever. Thanks for watching. See ya.